Good morning, people. How are we today? I hope we're all fine. We'll just get Facebook on board and then we'll get it up and running. Right, we're up and running. That'll be Facebook on board. Anyway, good morning, folks. How are we today? As you can see, my other co-presenters fucked off today as well. It must be catchy. Anyway, how are we all? We're just waiting Facebook getting on board. We'll get into this. You'll need to excuse me if I'm a bit sharp this morning. I was daft enough to sit up to daft a coke this morning with Henry and Aki's. Wasn't it a good move? But hey, it was quite a nice conversation. Quite enjoyed it. Anyway, any Facebookers on board? Yes, good morning, Laurie. How are you? Right. Well, that was a rapid rise this morning. And they truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office in Southern North Lanarkshire, where it is dry, overcast, and I believe it's about 9 degrees, 8 degrees it is. So there you go. That's the weather here in North Lanarkshire, in Salisbury. Why know the weather's like with you? Look at your own bloody windy. Alright, first up this morning, we have the rancid record. I don't put it up, as you know, but it runs on a crime story and it's burning hatred as the headline. And two senior members of infamous family hit in one night, and apparently this is the Daniels crime clan. We've got a Barney going with another crime clan called the Richardson crime clan. And apparently they're having a pop at wiping each other out. If they're successful, then we'll no need to worry about fucking organised crime for a while, will we? Morning, Melanie. Second up is the Scum, and it goes on the same story. Crime clan home tops. Bonzo mum blaze attack. Mobsters target Daniel family houses. Mayhem as Gangland feud erupts. Sorry, escalates. It's no erupting, it's escalating. I do beg your pardon. I should have glanced down and looked at the page. But apparently, these two crime clans are going into hammers and tongs. There's fires in the west, there's fires in the east, and it's going right along the M8 corridor, apparently. As I say, on the bright side, if they manage to wipe each other out, maybe we'll no need to worry about fucking organised crime for a while. Although it is putting a bit of pressure on the fire brigade, especially all these wildfires that have been going on lately. Wow. Morning, John. How's things, my friend? Anyway, next up, we have the Daily Fail. I'll put it up. This one cracks me up, folks. Wait till you see this one. This one is absolute phenomenal. And the reason why it cracks me up is because I'm going to pick you up the like figure for Westminster, okay? The Daily Fail, here we go. Backlash over Quango board members costing taxpayers $9 million. Part-time SNP fat cats raking in $1,000 a day. Now, what's it all about, folks? This is the story that the Scottish Government paid out £9 million in Quangos last year. And before you all go horrified, what is it Quangos are for? What is it they do? Well, Quangos are bodies put together by governments who are experts in their fields. Because the one thing we know about politicians is they're experts in basically fuck all. With the exception of the odd one or two, like Dr. Philippa Whitford, who was, of course, a surgeon. You get the odd one that's a lawyer and might be a specialist in a certain field of law. But generally, they aren't specialists. So if they want to build infrastructure, then they need a team of experts. They form a Quango. You'll have soil techs. You'll have landscape engineers. You'll have obstacle engineers. You know, the guys that design and build bridges, that sort of thing. And of course, you'll have the guys who actually do the construction work, the workers. And you'll have people who represent them, who will say, tut tut, great idea by design, but not going to work practically, that sort of thing. So apparently, the SNP spent 9 million quid on experts last year. I thought, 9 million quid? That sounds like a fucking bargain. There can't be much going on right now. We better have a wee look and see what Westminster spent on experts per year. And by the way, the latest figures released are for 2022-2023, but I'll stick them up. This is in a BBC article. Okay. Now, in this article, they ask, what is a Quango? How many Quangos are there? And how much do they cost? And you'll see that wee bit highlighted in blue there. It says the total budget for Quangos for the Westminster Parliament in 2022-2023, and it says the latest published figures was 353 billion quid. That's no M for million. That is B for billion. Westminster spent 353.3 billion quid on Quangos in 2022 to 2023. And here we have an English publication in Scotland screaming about 9 million quid. Now let's do a per capita share, shall we? Wow. 9 times 11. It's costing I'm not going to insult you, but it is costing about 200-300% more than what it costs the Scottish Government. Maybe more. You know, so here we have an English publication, mad right-wing publication in Scotland screaming about 9 million quid spent by the Scottish Government for experts in their field, when Westminster in the year 2022-2023, God knows what the latest figures are, spent 353.3 billion. Billion! Let that sink in. On Quangos. Wow. Wow. That is absolutely nuts. Did I actually put that up? I can't mind now. I better put it up again just in case, because I am having one of the days. Well, I can't put it up, just shut the fucking thing down. Anyway, Westminster in 1 year, 2022-2023, spent 353.3 billion quid in Quangos. And here we have a right-wing loony unionist publication in Scotland, an English paper, telling us that 9 million for experts was a bit over the top. 9 million, 353 billion. Sorry, 353.3 billion. 9 million pales into fucking insignificance. I would say the Scottish Parliament is doing well when it comes to experts and budgeting for experts. The other thing it might tell us is that there's absolutely fuck all going on in Scotland right now. Nothing. There's obviously no need for experts at this point in time, because nothing is actually happening, apparently, when you're only spending 9 million on expert panels. But there must be a hell of a lot going on doing in England, especially in the year 2022-2023. Fuck. So, another fucking stupid headline for a stupid publication that doesn't think the people here in Scotland are capable of using a search engine to compare how much the Scottish Government spent on Quangos and how much the Westminster Government spent on fucking Quangos. And the thing about the Westminster Government is they still fucking... The latest figures that they've published are for 3 years back. 2 years back. 3 years back. I wonder what the fucking bill is now. If that's the latest figures we can get our hands on. Wow. Rachel, are you here, dear? Rachel from accounts, calling Rachel from accounts. Do you have some latest figures for us? Thank you. Anyway, let's move on. The Telegraph, what's that fucking stupid publication got for us this morning? Shall we see? Unions threaten to spread bin strike. And I thought, okay, I guess they're going to call for members and other councils to come out in solidarity with the bin men in Birmingham, you know. So there's a risk of rubbish piling up across the country. Apparently, after pay deal snubbed leaves Rayner humiliated, and it does. The Labour government sent the Deputy Prime Minister up there to Birmingham, which isn't that far from London, to strike a deal. She put it on the table and it took the trade unions 2 hours to tell her to fuck off. And now the trade union is threatening to get other trade unions out and solidarity with them. This could get interesting in England. I mean, it's bad enough that their water's already full of shit. It'll be interesting to see what it's like when their streets are full of shit and all. And the other one is, China warns Britain not to politicise steel saga. We'll get a wee bit more about that as we go on. But I've heard all sorts of nonsense about sabotage. And I mean nonsense. Even when the plant is sitting idle, because of energy costs here in these islands, it costs £700,000 a day just to keep the furnaces warm, just to keep the ovens hot. If I was a commercial operator with nothing on my books as far as orders are concerned, I have the high cost of having to import ore, having to import coke, because we don't have coal here anywhere, we don't produce coke. So, and the high cost of electricity and labour, and I'm losing £700,000 a day, I'm shutting it fucking down as well. I'm a commercial operator. I need to make fucking money. Only a government could run a £700,000 loss a day. A day. Sabotage my arse. If I was the director, CEO of a company with a branch in a place, the tiny wee island of the UK, who is making a loss at the branch office of £700,000 a day, I'd fucking shut it down and all. I'm sorry. Sabotage my arse. Commercial viability. And I've heard this, they don't want us producing marine steel. They want us to buy it off them. Well, we're buying the fucking iron ore off them. We're buying the coke off them. We're shipping it halfway around the world. It's well just buying a fucking finished product. It would be cheaper. Should there be a steel industry here on these islands? Well, let's have a look at it. Do we have any iron ore as a natural resource? No. Do we have any coal mines producing coal for coke to stoke the fire? No. Make steel? Makes no fucking sense. Have your rolling mills? Have your presses? and Portland steel. We don't have any iron ore. We don't have any coal mines to make coke. We're actually bringing the stuff in from India and China to keep this fucking mill running. Sorry, this furnace burning. This steel mill producing steel. It makes no fucking sense. And then because of high energy costs, it's costing £700,000 a day just to keep the fucking oven warm. Well, we're waiting the ore and the coke coming in from India and China. This is fucking nuts. Nuts! Absolute nuts! I'm sorry to the 2,400 fucking people who work at that plant. We have no iron ore in these islands. We have no coke on these islands. And we have the highest electricity bills in the fucking world. And they're blaming the Chinese for sabotage. Sabotage! Wow, that's how fucking stupid they think we are as a people. That's how stupid they think we are as a people. What have we got here in Scotland when it comes to steel? DL, which recycles steel, and Clyde's Mill, which is a rolling mill, which turns it into rotted sheets of metal for industry, for building cars, for making washing machine bodies, for your cooker's body, that sort of thing. Recycled steel, because we don't have any ore. Fucking nuts. Oh, I see Rachel for accounts. And Rachel, how much did the Tories spend in Quangos last year, darling? You've got the books. The latest figures we can get here, out there in Cyberland, is for 2022-2023. And as for this idea of privatising a fucking industry that has no right to be here anymore, because we mined out the ore fucking years ago, and we shut the coal mines down in the 80s. Why did we shut the coal mines down? Because we mined out the fucking ore! There was nothing to turn into fucking steel! Wow. You couldn't make this shit up. We're bringing in the ore for the Far East and from Eastern Europe. We're bringing in the coke for fuck knows where, the Far East and Eastern Europe, and maybe even North America, where they still have mining operations. Why not just import the finished fucking product? Cheaper? Faster? Wow. And they call it sabotage. Sabotage what? Fuck's sake. As I say, if I was the commercial operator that was operating that plant, and it was costing me £700,000 a day because of sky high energy costs, just to keep the pilot light on in the fucking oven, I'd shut it down and all. Right, yeah, there you go. Next up we have the Scotsman. What nonsense does it go for us a fucking day? Swinney warns over recession risk as election push begins. Well, you know, I've seen his speech yesterday. He's always seen it, but now I hope. When he was asked by the press about whether he thought there'd be a recession, what John said was, I don't know. And that he didn't want to predict such a thing. Talking the economy down could well be one of the things that sparks a recession. But Swinney warns over, but technically we've been in a recession for since 2020. A technical recession, they call it. And the UK is one of the only places that's never fully recovered from COVID. You don't need to believe me, you can all ask Rachel for accounts, she's in the comments. After all, it's the reason why she's implementing austerity 3.6.9.0, whatever it is now. Let's just say we're on year 15 of ongoing austerity. What we can say is that Rachel is a wee bit meaner than the Tories. And I've heard this crap about, Labour have done some bad policies and some good ones. Name me a fucking good one. I can name you a couple of points in a bill they're introducing, which is new, but the rest of them in that new bill is just restoring rights we used to have under the 1972 Factories Act, which brought in the 40-hour week and regulated breaks. The two things that are new in that bill: sickness benefit for day one and improved maternity benefits. Apart from that, nothing. Nothing fucking new. I can't think of anything good they've done. Anything. So when you listen to these commentators saying, they've brought in some great policies and they've brought in some bad ones, I can't think of any great policies. I can think of a mediocre workers' rights bill, which has introduced two new workers' rights. Two new workers' rights. Sickness pay for day one and improved maternity. Great things to do, especially sickness pay for day one. Now they need to bring the sickness pay up to something people can actually fucking live on, instead of £106 a week. Okay. Anyway, what's the other one? What's the byline in this fucking rag today? Let me have a look. If I can find the fucking rag. Yeah, that one's it. Yeah, but there, what's the byline in it today? School set for court battle over battery site plan. And that's because of the battery site going to be a large-scale battery storage unit for renewables built near a school. And Major George Square revamp gets underway. So the square's actually behind a bunch of boards this morning, showing images of Glasgow, I hope, or maybe even old images of the square. Anyway, that's a Scotsman for us. First Minister brings forward policy plan ahead of 2026 poll. Very good. And what comes after the Scotsman? Well, generally it's the Herald, so let's look and see what pish this thing is. This is a cracker this morning, guys. An absolute fucking mind bender. Mind bender. I'm going to blow this up a wee bit so you can see it. Action call over safety of batteries as blaze on rise. Ministers told to take urgent measures amid fears about green storage and ferries. And I thought, how did we get from fucking batteries to ferries? When did we start storing fucking used batteries on ferries? Wow. And Swinney insists SNP Minister 20k pay rise is fair. That's also a false headlines, folks. As Swinney explained yesterday, it's not really a pay rise. He's just telling you can keep the pay rises you've had in the last fucking 18 years now, rather than getting it back in the public purse. Fucking 20% pay rise, my arse. There's not a single fucking a peer review board out there that would award any fuck of that sort of pay rise. And John Swinney doesn't have it in his power to award ministers or MSPs pay rises. That's done by an independent pay review board. Do you understand that? I know you all understand that. But the Herald would like to say that you're all too fucking stupid to remember that. Mark T. Tross still desperately hoping for a furry coke. No chance. No, you never know. And one of the stories we're going to get to, or a byline we're going to get to a wee bit further into this, is quite interesting. Okay. So that was the Scotsman and that was the Herald. Who manages to get ferries and fucking battery plant fires into one fucking sentence. Couldn't make it up. Right, where we go next? Absolute fucking nonsense. Right, what's the National got for us? Oh, the National's got the annual outlier. I love this one. The National exclusive poll, yes, double digit lead for yes. And that's because this poll put yes on 56%. And I think that's all very encouraging until you find out who commissioned the fucking poll. It was this paper. And to go on with the point that Mr. Milligan was making yesterday, when you commission a poll, you can make it say what you want it to fucking say. Allegedly. Me, I tend to take groups of polls together and go for a mean average, the same way psephologist John Curtis does. But this one is the annual outlier, folks. The normal annual outlier comes from Business for Scotland. Let's see if one of the mainstream pollers comes up with the same result in this month, and let's see what the average is, or the extent of all the polls on this subject which are done this month. And I'll tell you, it'll be 50-50. It's been 50-50 for the last fucking decade. And we can all say we feel it's different. It feels more like it. And it does from day to day. But it swings from day to day as well. It swings from month to month. And when you're observing this stuff day in, day out like I do, then you see it. You actually see it. One day I'll be at work and the workmates will go, fuck that independence. And then the next day they'll be in saying, oh fuck, we need you out of here, look what they're doing now. That's how fickle it is. And within our own party, the SNP, my party, within my party, yep, they all want independence, but they can't decide whether they want it the fucking more, whether they want it in 5 years, whether they want it in 10 years, and they can't decide what fucking route to take. But this one is the annual outlier, folks. We had a 56% last year, a 54% the year before that, a 57 or 58% the year before that, if I remember right, while Nicola was running the show in COVID. And Charles, I'm not arguing that it's not a better starting point than fucking 27% that we started on back in 2012. I'm not arguing that. I'm not even arguing that it's no time for independence. It is. I'm talking about what's in our politicians' minds. And if anybody thinks that Swinney and co are going to change their minds on one poll, you're wrong. The gradualist wants a series of 60%, once after another, after another, after another. And anybody who's seen me interview Seamus Logan before the 2024 election will know that. Because I asked him his point of view. And he told us, there'll be no shift until we get a constant 60% in the polls. So if you want to know where the party's at and how they're thinking, the gradualists within the party, that's it. 60% consistently in the polls for about 12 months apparently. So that 56% poll that's in the national going, yahoo! Check back with me in a year. If there's been a year of 56% or over, our politicians might move. But remember, we've got gradualists in charge. And that is the gradualist point of view. As I say, anybody that's seen me interview Seamus Logan, lovely man, really liked the fella. I'm hoping to get him back on at some point soon. He made it quite clear. 60% in the polls consistently. That's what he said. He's a gradualist. He's a gradualist. Whereas we're all saying, let's get this done. Where's this vote? Get a vote. Fuck Westminster, let's have a vote. It's not how the politicians are thinking, folks. And we can sit here and be angry about it. And we are. And some of us who are definitely getting on a bit of age, including myself, we're starting to get real impatient. We really are starting to get real impatient. But the annual outlier is not going to do it. It's not going to shift them. As I say, anybody watched that interview I did with Seamus Logan, and if you haven't watched it, you can go back and watch it. It's on the channel. When I asked Seamus about this, and he's a gradualist, constant 60% in the polls over a 12-month period. Then he said things would snowball. All right. So that carry on yesterday with David and I having a fight about this stuff. This has got nothing to do with me or disagreeing with David, because I don't. I agree with him 100%. But I'm here to put to you the reality of the situation as I'm observing it, and as I see the behaviour in our politicians. And I recall conversations with others in the movement who are either graduates or want it now. And I agree with David, that is imperative. We do need it. And we need it soon. Doesn't change the fucking fact that the Scottish people cannot decide when they want it. So when you put up a poll, when should there be the next Scottish referendum? Generally 5 years' time comes out on top. Generally 5 years' time to the date the poll was taken comes out on top. It's always after the time's not right yet. The time's not right yet. Why we want it, but the time's not right yet. It's very, very frustrating. And to have the graduates back in charge and see somebody like Humza, who was gung-ho, is very difficult to swallow. But they're in charge. They're still winning elections. They're going to remain in charge. Right, so what else was in the National? Did I take it down? Aye, I did, unfortunately. As I say, me, I want it tomorrow. I know the route out. We all know the route out. And the next opportunity, as David was pointing out, is 2029. We have until then to change the minds of those in Holyrood. We have the time to change their minds in Holyrood and make them, force them to put dissolving the Union in the 2029 Westminster Manifesto. And it needs to be scripted the way Humza said it. Give me the majority of SNP MPs and I'll call it. And we need to convince whoever's in charge of the party in 2029, if the SNP are still in power here in Scotland, to do that. That's your challenge, folks. That is your challenge. Okay, let's have a look and see what the Times has got this morning. Where are we? The Times. Miliband signed up to close ties with China on energy. Miliband signed up to close ties with China on energy. Well, to be fair, folks, I'm not surprised. After all, the Chinese, they have a 33.3% stake in Hinkley Point. And the nonsense about sabotage in Scunthorpe, that's exactly what it is. It's nonsense. Signed up to close ties with China on energy. Of course they are. They're building Hinkley fucking Point, for fuck's sake. You've got to hope they don't put a boom kabang switch in. Oh, fuck. So there you go. Most of the publications are telling us, what naughty boys the Chinese are. And now we have them telling us that our government has just signed up to close ties with them, our energy. Rachel, drop an explanation in the comments, will you? Because I've got no fucking idea what they're doing. What's the byline? Oh, apparently refusal to nationalise Grangemouth is anti-Scottish, says John Swinney. He's right. He is right. It is the latest slight delivered by a colonial master who is hell-bent on a mission to make Scotland feel so belittled, so poor and so stupid that it will just let them carry on running the shit show. But the big fight that Dave and I was about yesterday was politicians having fear. Westminster politicians fear we're going to get up and leave. They're no fucking scared at all. They're no scared. And if anybody thinks that one poll, the annual outlier's going to make them scared, they're no scared. When it gets to 60% consistently for a year, like Seamus Logan has said, then they might become fucking scared. Because then the pressure on our politicians to move will be massive. Massive. Because then the alternative party theory would actually fucking work. Because if you get a constant 60% and the SNP are no moving, the very next election they'll be gone and replaced by somebody like the Alpha Party or the Greens. Anyway, let's move on. What's the I got for us today? I'm going to have to go and get this one. For some reason I seem to be shutting things down hell fast. Okay, what's the I got for us today? Another China story, folks. China threatens British jobs over steel sabotage row with Labour. No surprise. Commercial operator decides that an operation is no longer viable, and you've got arseholes in the British government shouting sabotage. Sabotage. If they wanted to sabotage steel making in the UK, they'd just stop shipping us ore and stop shipping us coal. Let's have a look, shall we? This no take long. AIC! The ore comes from Norway, Sweden, Brazil, Canada, and South America. South Africa. So, if you wanted to stop us making steel, with the amount of money China's got, you would just bribe these other countries to stop selling us ore, or you'd buy up their supply of ore. Because after all, they've got more money than us. There you go. Now we know. The ore's no coming from the Far East, it's coming from Norway, Sweden, and South America, and Africa. But it's still fucking madness, folks. It's still be cheaper to buy in the finished product, especially when you can find it to the quality you're looking for. Right. Let's have a look next up with the Metro. I'm going to grab that, because it seems to have disappeared or not. What nonsense has the Metro got for us today? Well, it's just as bad as the Star actually today, so let's get it up. Remember what you're doing, David. Here we go. The Metro. Look at the moon. Oh my God, we're in space. First all-female crew, 10 minutes in space. Now, apparently there was some space tourism went on yesterday, and some celebrities took to a rocket and they headed off into space for 10 minutes. Just a wee bit longer than your average vomit comet. If you don't know what a vomit comet is, use your search engine. Okay, so apparently there was a rocket went into space for 10 minutes, crewed by females and with female passengers. There you go, and apparently one of them was quite a famous pop star. Alright, we'll get to that in a minute. Right, next up. Well, I talked about Hinkley Point, folks, and the Chinese and their 33% share on it. Do you know that Hinkley Point was supposed to come online this year? And it was still only to cost 18 billion quid. It's not coming online now to 2031 with an estimated cost of 47.9 billion quid. 47.9 billion quid. More than double the estimated cost when the green light was given for this project at Hinkley Point to start in 2015. So here we are, 9 years on, 10 years on, no power station, and double the fucking budget. We have another 6 years before the power station comes online, allegedly. So they had 15 years to build a nuclear power station. 15 fucking years to build a power station. And Labour are saying this is the future of energy. They're talking about mini reactors. Mini modular reactors are called small modular reactors. They're more expensive to run. They produce more fucking waste. And they're just as fucking dangerous as a big one. And by the way, there's only a couple of them in the world that are operating. And they're only operating at 30% capacity because they fear they go fucking boom. Oh, lovely stuff. And you don't have to believe me, folks. You can look this shit up. You know, because that's what I do. I look this shit up. So, have a look at small modular reactors. There's about 80 different designs out there. There's only a couple of them being built. A couple of them are functioning. Germany had a couple up and running, but shut them fucking down. Wasn't worth it. Too expensive. Too much fucking waste. and they never produced the full capacity. You couldn't make the shit up, could you? Right. Right, let's have a look and see what the Looney Rag Express has got for us today, shall we? See if I can fucking lighten the mood. What's that one? No. Right, get rid of that. Okay. The Looney Rag the Express. Another right-wing fucking Looney Rag. 80 years after the British Army liberated Bergen-Belsen. I've been there. Quite fucking creepy, actually. No insects, no birds in the fucking place at all that you can see. There must be, because grass and trees survive. But when you're there, it is fucking freaky. And I mean freaky. Oh, still gives me the fucking heebie-jeebies. Anyway, 80 years after the British Army liberated Bergen-Belsen, survivor Susan Pollock, 94, says, pays tribute to the soldiers who saved her from Nazi evil. They helped us retain our humanity, apparently. It helped save people retain their humanity. It appeared that a section of that community, somewhere along the line, has lost their fucking humanity. And I'm absolutely sure that Susan Pollock, 94, would not be amongst them. I have not seen a Holocaust survivor who actually condones the behaviour of the Israeli state. Not one. And everyone that I have seen on the media have been on the media in solidarity with the Palestinian people. No with the Zionist regime in Israel. But as I say, I've been to Bergen-Belsen. Oh, fuck. If you've not been to a concentration camp, folks, it is fucking unbelievable. If you haven't been to one of these Nazi fucking extermination camps, it is eye-opening. It is life-changing. It is fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable. Right, let's see if we can cheer ourselves up as we head out the door. What's the star go for us today? Let's have a look. Katy Perry, what a wonderful world. I went to space and I liked it. So there you go. I did tell you there was a pop star going, didn't I? They went into space, and there you go. Now you know it's Katy Perry. And apparently, when she got on the craft, she was singing "Wonderful World," and when she got off the craft, when it landed, she kissed the earth. So there you go. Anything else you need to know about it, you need to look up yourself, because I got it all off the front page of this fucking rag. The only interesting bit there is the wee bit at the side, and that is Rishi's aid betting rap. Now, there's no much about it in the papers today, folks, but 15 government officials or actual MPs or MPs' aides, I think there's a copper in amongst the mix as well. There's a member of the Welsh Senate in the mix. Couple of Tory MPs in the mix. What's interesting, folks, out of that list of 15, guess who's not on it? You're right, Michael Gove and Alistair Jack, who at the time of the scandal breaking, or even just as we come up with a general election, had admitted that they did a wee flutter on when the election would be. But apparently they weren't in the inside, because apparently they didn't fucking win. Although Alistair Jack didn't declare whether he won or no, I think. Or maybe he did, I can't remember. Was it a couple of grand he said he won or something? Somebody in the comment will know. But anyway, apparently they're not getting charged. You know, they weren't being investigated by the Gambling Commission. So Sir Alistair Jack and wee Govey will survive it. Wonderful. No boffins and no eggheads, Rachel, I'm sorry. There's no boffins and no eggheads. But as I say, that's the interesting thing on the front page of the Star today, because I've never seen it on the front page of any of the mainstream publications. Maybe that will show up somewhere within the sheets, but it certainly wasn't headline news, that's for sure. But it did make it onto the front page of the Star, so we can be grateful for the comic for that today. Okay. DJ Muff. Now, class action, you behave yourself in the comments. Right, folks. That's fucking hell, this one doesn't have dragged on, is it? Yeah, that's what happens when I've been up all night. I get into the flow. Right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. You can't go to concentration camps. Your ex did. You couldn't face it. Kevin, I know where you're coming from. Honestly. I think I was 18. And the reality of it hits you. I mean, it really hits you. It is freaky. It is freaky as, in fact, it's worse than that. I don't think I've ever felt anything like it. I don't think I've ever felt anything like it since. Right, I better stop rabbiting. This has been on since 10:30. It's nearly 11:30. Right, you guys. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. And hopefully Mr. Million and I will have kissed and made up for time Thursday rolls. Okay, we do have these mad fucking goes at each other now and again. It doesn't happen on air often, but it does happen off air a lot. An awful lot. Right, guys, catch you later. Ciao now. We after each other. Thanks, mods. And if there was any super chats come in that I missed, thanks.